I just got back from the restroom. I really had to go. That's why I got the stream off. Rest assured that'll not be the case this time because I feel a lot better. Now, I mentioned before that I despise Discord. I think it's the worst website online, with Twitter coming in a close second. But I think Discord is worse because it allows people more powers than they would have on pretty much any other site, with being able to make servers and have their little private rooms, stuff like that. This week, I decided to break one of my rules and just go in some servers just for the sake of seeing if things would be any different from my previous criticisms of them. And it was just as bad. But the reason the stream is titled the way it is, yeah, I appreciate Dio for returning. I know I had you waiting with bated breath. The reason the title is the way it is because there was one person in particular that did something uh, really insane. So I want to kind of highlight it. I feel like making a video for it because it's I don't have screenshots of it because it was in the VC. Oh, I do, Dio. Thanks. So on Monday, I joined this server, and there's like all kind of different people, but me and this let me see, I just arrived myself. I'm curious. The title. Hope you're well. Thanks. I joined this server on Monday. I'm in this server. Like, there's me and these other people, and there's one user in particular who I'm going to call Person X. Now, me and Person X, we just talk to each other, whatever. They get annoyed by some of the stuff people are saying about this game, and then they leave the VC to go into another one, which I go in there with them. And then there's this other guy who we're going to call Galactus. So Galactus and Person X, are talking to each other, having this like conversation along with myself. It's just like a little pleasant thing, whatever. Um, and Person X lets it slip out that they are 17. Now, of course, when you're on the internet, you know that especially if you're on Discord, a site where you can join at 13, but people have joined even younger than that. You don't really, unless the person has some really high pitched voice, you're probably not going to know specifically what age they are. So the next day, Tuesday, Person X and I are in this VC with some other people, and a guy comes in there, and he is one. He needs to be put in the Guinness Book of World Records for being an obnoxious buffoon. He starts asking Person X if they're gay or not, and repeatedly asks them and just starts questioning them in these like different sexual ways. And I thought it was so insane just the way he was acting that I recorded it. I have a recording of it, of this encounter, because I think when people act so bizarre, right, and they take a video game server and try to have these like some kind of pornographic discussion, I think it warrants being recorded for the purpose of, one, the amusement of it, but also just how insane it is. Now, in a span of about 7 minutes, this obnoxious person is able to go from asking Person X if they're gay, if they watch porn, all this different stuff, right? They start saying racial slurs when people mute them. And then eventually Person X just gets fed up with it and leaves the whole server. Now, after they leave the servers and they get out of the VCs, they don't actually like permanently leave it, like, what I'm talking about, where you close out the server, never go back in, leave it in that manner. Me and Person X then have a 40 something minute conversation for a VC where, they say they're enjoying themselves, nice to not be harassed, various things. And I'm bringing this up just to say that, uh, even if I recorded this specific interaction they had with this person, I was still pretty heavily on Person X's side because it is kind of like I get where it's irritating. So later that night, I'm in that same server, one of the VCs, with this other guy who just like, they're whatever, they're all right. And Galactus decides to make a reappearance. Now, when I'm talking to this other guy, and Galactus is like, it's kind of similar to the thing with Person X, but it's like that 3-person thing. Now, Galactus at some point hears this new guy, right, admit that he's 17, and so he immediately mutes him. And let me explain. I think you guys might know what muting on Discord is, where you mute someone and then like they can hear you, but you can't hear them. So for the next 30, 40 minutes because this 17-year-old wants to like play this drawing contest game I'd never heard of, which I did think it was a fun game. I just had never played it before. But for the next 30, 40 minutes, I have to sit in a VC with two other people who have each other muted, and it's not fun. They're talking over each other. Um, Admittedly, Galactus wasn't saying as much as the person I was playing with, but you get the idea. But I also want to like highlight to you this important fact, which is that this person does nothing to Galactus and simply gets muted because of their age. Like their age offends him to such an extent that he's like, I don't want to hear anything you have to say. Like, doesn't that just sound rude? Like, just okay, this person, you come in a VC, they say their age, which is, I mean, I think 17 is not like a little kid. It's you're almost an adult, but you get the idea. They come in here, they mention their age briefly or like offhandedly, and then you mute them, and then like sit in the VC and like try to interject yourself in a conversation between them and someone else who didn't mute them for you get the idea. Like most of the time when you mute someone, it's because they're annoying you, getting on your nerves. Like you muted this person because of their age. Like I just thought that was so insane. But it's a what do you call it? It's like an early warning sign that something is wrong with Galactus. Um, yeah, I was having a little bit of difficulty articulating because there's a lot of like little stuff like recurring characters and whatnot I had to give nicknames to, and I don't know if I was going to be able to. Like, it would probably take a whole solid 10 minutes to just recap everything, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so Wednesday, I'm in the server again. Person X doesn't come in, whatever. I go in there that night, and Galactus is there. Now, earlier in the day, I had taken the recording of this like harassment that was going on where person X getting asked about their sexuality over and over and like getting followed from VC to VC by this guy, and put some music over it, like some horror movie music, because I thought it was funny, just like how insane this guy was for continuously pursuing this person that didn't want to talk to them and whatnot. But I showed it to these two other guys on the server with because they also despise that server, and it was like what it's called, like it validating for them to see that mocked. Hey, Dio, you might have guessed correctly what it was, but we're gonna just leave it up to interpretation. Just know it's some like scary music that's put on top of like someone trying to have a conversation with people while they're like being asked over and over of all this like weird stuff. But you would get why I would do that, right? Because it's like like the person's reaction, and then they just keep following them. Like that feels like something out of a horror film on Discord because they went to three different voice chats and were followed by this person. So I offer to play it for. Let me read what Megumi said. You can only encounter this nonsense on Discord. That's for sure. Now I offer to play this for Galactus. I also should mention that the recording was 6 minutes, so it's not that long. Like it was very quick for the person to just get so fed up and leave the server. I offered to play this for Galactus, and his response is to say, you know, uh, okay, sure. And then I also should mention that I asked him again if he can hear it because in this server, so in a lot of servers, you have the option to share your screen so you can like stream in the server. This server got rid of that because apparently somebody came in there and started streaming porn. So I have to like manually play it from my computer, like through my mic, and I'm asking if he can hear this. And he says yes. And then I play it for about 10 seconds. And he's like, stop, I don't care about the sexuality of a 17-year-old. And then proceeds to start talking about this thing that he's into. And I say some stuff a few minutes later, but let me explain to you why this really pisses me off. Whenever I want to speak to someone for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, for any amount of time that I know is probably going to be long, because each call I had with him was like 40 minutes, 50 minutes at the minimum. Sometimes they might talk about or say something that I don't really find particularly interesting, but I'll put up with it for the sake of trying to speak to them. So, for example, my brother will show me clips from Beyblade, and I've never been a fan of that. I know about it, but it's not something that I'm interested in. But I'll still watch it because I want to speak to him. And I know that, if I watch this 3 minute clip, I can still talk to him. For like however long, maybe some hours, maybe 30 minutes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you like a give and take, a compromise sort of deal. Like with my best friend, where maybe I want to speak to him on a day that's not Friday, but I'll still just speak to him on Friday because that's what he wants. Again, more compromise. Um, there was actually, when going back to these two guys I was speaking to, who I played the recording for, they were playing some game that came out very recently, and I have no interest in playing this game ever. It's some kind of RPG, and it doesn't look interesting to me. It doesn't seem like it's boring. It's just not my thing. But I was willing to sit there and watch them play that game for what ended up being multiple hours, just to have a conversation with them about multiple other topics. So I guess what I'm trying to phrase to you is, if there's someone I want to speak to and they want to show me, let's say I know I'm going to talk to this person for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, and they want to show me a 6 minute clip of something that happened that they were involved with. I don't really see a reason why I wouldn't watch it or otherwise engage with it. If I know that by watching this, I satisfy the person enough to then possibly be open to discussing other things. Because I always talk about multiple different things in any long range call I'm involved in. But it was funny because he tried to say, "Well, you're getting so upset over this," and all I said was I wasn't interested. Like, no, 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 you confirmed that you were willing to hear this recording, and then I start playing it, a little bit of it, and then you say, "Oh, you're not interested." So you're a cock tease. You say you're interested in hearing something, and then when you give guys, like, imagine how annoying that would be. Megumi, you have a video you want to show me? All right, play it. Video 6 minutes. You start playing it for like 10 seconds. Oh, turn it off. I'm not interested. It's like, then, why did you say you wanted to hear it? Because I didn't just come in there and like click and then start playing. This person gave me authorization to play it around them. Now, after he does this, he starts talking about The Walking Dead and some kind of infection thing that he had. And I don't interrupt him. He speaks for like must be 2 or 3 minutes. But I do start to make the point of how, you dismissed what I was going to show you or talk about, so that with the hope that you would talk about something and I would pay full attention to it and not interrupt you. And like, he dismisses like my criticisms of what he did as a lecture, and then like abruptly leaves because these people, they're always rude. So in a span of 2 days, we had a guy who muted a 17-year-old simply for being 17. They weren't annoying or obnoxious at all in any way, in my opinion. They certainly said nothing to him. They, just like completely initiates this conflict, right? A person who, after saying they'll listen to a recording that you have, uh, stops you a few seconds into it and then expects you to want to talk to them and listen to everything they have to say. But see, that's why I called this stream what it is. These people, right? And this isn't the first time I've had something like this happen. A couple of years ago on YouTube, there was a commenter who was like writing paragraphs. And I always used to, when I was, like younger on this site, I would try to like have these, the like misconception that you could have a civilized conversation on here with people in the comment section. So I wrote him back a comment that was pretty long as well, because like again, it's hard to address some very, very long comment in text without your comment also being very, very long. And the response he had was to say, "Oh, I only read this much of it." And I was like, "Okay, well, if you're not going to read what I wrote, then don't expect me to read what you wrote." A lot of these people online are like so unfair, and they expect you to want to hear them and sit through whatever they're trying to discuss or talk about. But then if you have something you're interested in or show, "Oh, I have no time for this." Huge double standard is what this sounds like too. Yeah, that's why I called him Galactus, because hey, just what does Galactus do? He goes around devouring worlds, no care or concern for the feelings of anybody else. You go into these VCs trying to have people listen to you while completely disregarding what they want to talk about, how they feel about what's being discussed. Just internet Galactus. it was just really funny for him to bring up that person X's age. Like, oh, I don't want to hear about a 17-year-old sexuality. It's like, well, hell, I didn't want to hear it either, but it got brought up because this person was harassing person X. I just love it when they throw in people's ages, to try and like justify their like disinterest in something. Because I've had a lot of disgusting stuff happen to me on this site, and nobody cared about how old I was. I still have the screenshots of when I was 15, and I had people telling me that I should be dead instead of a serial killer because I made fun of his demise. Because this person murdered over 10 people. I didn't feel bad at all. Just saying when those comments were made to me, I didn't see anybody go. I only saw one person, and they were someone I knew in real life, defend me. I saw no person that I just like knew on the internet or just like some random person come on there and go, "Oh, he's only this." They didn't care. Wonder what made you decide to try Discord again. Well, I hadn't been in a server that wasn't my own for over a year, not counting this one that this guy made, and just kind of like just like a joke, like, "Oh, let me invite a few people in here, but not updated at all." So I just said, "Okay, let me see if it's gotten any better." Well, that's messed up. People think they can just say anything to anyone on here. Hey, you know what's even more comedic? When I was, do you remember Megumi? I don't know, like you wouldn't remember the year, but like, do you remember I mentioned that there was a website I used to go on where I was talking to some like counselor person about the chick stuff of how irritating it is to keep asking chicks out and then you get no, you like just nowhere with it, right? And then her response was, maybe you like boys. That nonsense was written when I was 17. It's like all the like strange weird encounters you can have online while you're underage I've had. And let me also say this, I don't feel bad about recording any goddamn body on the computer, because when you go in a public Discord server with thousands of people in it, you can expect someone to maybe be recording. I've had plenty of instances where I go in servers that are much smaller than that, uh, and get recorded. There was this one server I used to go to where this guy would stream himself. And think of how insane this is, right? He's so pathetic. He streams from another person's server as opposed to his own. And he didn't get my consent or anybody else's. He would just, if you don't want to be recorded, then go in another VC. But see, when I was talking about how like I don't really like group VCs, because a lot of times there might be one or two people you actually want to speak to, and then there's like five or six other ones you're not really interested in talking to. That's the reason why I think that site is so demented. Like on that site, if you remember the man who set the lying world record, right? You have people who try to convince you that there's like something wrong with you for wanting to talk one on one or have just like a call in DMs. And I'm like, guys, in real life, and you can correct me. I don't know Megumi's life. You can correct me. Aren't most of your calls between you and one other person? Like, how many times do you call your mother and then, oh, I got called my dad and my grandpa and my grandma and my sister and my brother? Like, what, who does that? Like, Discord is literally the only website where they take normal things and make it out to be, like bizarre. Like, you want to have one on one calls with people. It's like, yeah, so does every other person in the real world that doesn't use this stupid website every day. By the way, Person X really enjoyed that one-on-one VC with me. They stayed in it for 40 minutes. Only left because they got called to do something. I didn't make that recording to make fun of them. I took it because I saw something insane happening and wanted some proof that it occurred. I can count the number of people who heard the whole thing on one hand. And all of them already hated that server. So I just don't feel bad. People record me all the time and I don't, whatever. No, nobody gets into a hissy fit. People talk about my sexuality all the time. I have plenty of comments. Oh, you're probably gay. No one goes and says, don't talk about him in such a way. You don't see it. it's hard for me to feel sympathetic to people online when you're like increasingly not giving sympathy yourself. People can just say anything to you that they want with no consequence. Just like on Monday when we had some clown I'd never seen before come in my comment section talking about he was gonna whoop my behind and using racial slurs and epithets. And it's like, yeah, no one, you know, they act this way toward me, but I'm supposed to be nice toward other people. All right. I don't even know who Mike is. Megumi says, "Yeah, you're right there, dude. It's very strange having a one-on-one VC with someone is completely normal, dude. No other website is like like has have I ever seen try to shame you for wanting to talk to a single person and not some group of people. When I used to use Skype, every call except one out of the whole must be 3 4 years I used that site was between me and another person. It's always two people. Same thing in real life. Discord is the only site where, oh, you must, if you want to talk to me, you have to talk to my friends too. They act disrespectful and then they act like they did nothing wrong. Well, they act disrespectful, but then they want you to respect them and like hear them out and listen to everything they say. That video you put up with most guys will pay for it was amazing. Oh, thanks. I wish I knew which video you're referring to. I don't think that that's the title of one. You might be talking about what I said in it. Oh, yeah, he's literal internet Galactus. You have to listen to what he wants to say while he ignores what you want to say. And I'm telling you, out of all the people I've spoken to, barring like trolls or somebody that comes in the chat, whether it's in a one-on-one capacity or just anytime there's someone I've reached out and tried to talk to, and they start talking about something that I don't find maybe too interesting, you will never see me cut them off and go, yeah, I don't care about this. It's like how rude can you be? Because when I speak to someone that I'm actually trying to talk to, um, that's a tactic of mine to curry favor. You listen to the person, like you give them the respect of being heard, even if they're discussing something you might not find terribly interesting. It's like he really thought it was okay to like authorize me to play this recording, and then a few seconds into it say I'm not interested, and then like I'm supposed to then speak to you for the next 40 minutes about something that you find fascinating. James, imagine you start talking about doing music, and let's say you're only talking about this and for like maybe 2 3 4 5 minutes, but like you're like, hey, can I talk to you about music? And I go, okay, yeah, sure. And then you're like, oh well, I was trying to make this, like, oh, I don't care about this. Like, what the hell? Because see, I gave you authorization to talk about it, and then you get a little bit into it, and I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. It was funny too because he was like saying that when he goes online, he doesn't want to have to. He has a username that's like not his real name, just like a very generic term thing online. So he was like, "Oh, I don't want when I go online, I don't want to have to censor myself, and I'm worried about being recorded." And I'm like, "Well, maybe if you didn't say things that you would be ashamed of in the real world, you wouldn't have to be worried about being recorded." You know, just the thought, huh? But also it's funny because it's like he a lot. That's why I said that these people are like everyone thinks they're a celebrity. Like you have an account where they don't have your profile picture, they don't have your name, and supposedly your voice is so distinct and recognizable and memorable that if someone hears like, oh yeah, that's him, that's that guy that lives over there in that state. It's like you go in a server with thousands of people in it, somebody probably is recording. Oh well, if you don't want to be recorded, don't. Two things, three things actually. Don't write anything. Don't go in any of the voice chats, or hell, don't join the server. My ex used to do that. It was annoying. We're gonna be said, see many people online are rude like that because they know there are no consequences for their disrespectfulness towards another individual. I'm telling you, man, every time I'm in a group chat and I interrupt somebody, it's always by accident, and I say, "Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off," or something to that effect. I never, like, while someone's talking about something, go, "Oh, I don't care about this. Stop speaking about it." I mean, it's like, what? Just you can't even get the most basic courtesies online. Like, damn. I just think that's extremely rude to do. And like I said, man, the recording thing isn't even about like someone not wanting to hear because you could just say, okay, you record this. I don't really want to hear it because, da, 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 da. It's like you said you were willing to hear this, and then you let the person play a little, like a very tiny snippet of it, and then you dismiss it. I'm like, well, hell, I'm dismissing you too. I want to talk to you, but I'm not willing to actually let you talk about what you want to speak about. Everything you say must be of interest to me. Oh my god, to have a hour-long conversation with this person, I have to listen to a 6-minute recording. Oh. Oh, yeah, it's a tit for tat, mhm. You know how many people on this website are like that's why I stopped, like, writing things back to people because I got so sick of, like, seeing instances where you take the time to address everything someone's saying, and then they respond with, "I didn't even read that. I only read part of that." I have a screenshot of someone doing that to a guy I used to talk to on Twitter. He would you like to know how big what he wrote was? This is how many sentences. And this person's like, I ain't reading all that. I feel good or bad for you. The intellect of people has gone down so much that reading 2 sentences is too much for them. But see, that's why I don't. The only time I write stuff is if it's a script for a video or just like something I'm reading to put in some audio format. Because I don't see a point to talking to someone who is purposely they want to be heard while not hearing you. I think that is insane. And then Stinky's over there laughing. No, that's why I stopped. Like only time on comments I'll do any interaction is like hearting it or whatever the feature is. Because every time you try to have a conversation with somebody, that happens overwhelmingly. If it's someone you disagree with, that is, they'll go, "Oh, I only read this part of that," or "I didn't read any of it." I'm like, "All right, well, get your illiterate behind off my channel." Or if they just mention K after you send them a few sentences or a paragraph articulating what they did, yeah, because they don't want to have an intellectual discussion. This is just people being rude. I also think that's really disrespectful. Dude, you should have just like I wish you could have felt like my reaction to him like saying, "Oh, I don't want to hear." It's like so you came in like, and he admitted he joined that VC because I was in it, because we had spoken over the I guess last 2 days. Like you joined the VC to speak to me, but then if there's something I'm interested in, I want to talk about, show you for a few minutes. Oh my god! I'll tell you, I don't do that to anybody ever that I'm actually trying to talk to. You would never see me do that. And they thought it was completely fine to like let somebody start playing something, cut it off very abruptly into it and shortly into it, and then we're supposed to just resume discussing what you like. I can't wait for Stinky to have a conversation with me where he says that I don't know he wants to talk about computers, and I go, all right, whatever. And then Stinky says, "Oh well, I really like Max because I don't want to talk about this." They're like, but you gave him permission to discuss this or to play whatever he was playing, and then like very abruptly into it, you do that. The rudeness on that website knows no bounds. We don't do double standards here. Sorry, dude. The only time I had like a a stream chat where I didn't read all the comments was the one that had the 140 people on, and that's because it was just going by too fast. I'll be there for like 4 hours trying to read everything they wrote. That's them doing that all day. But you get what I'm saying about the recording, right? It's like I don't feel bad about recording anybody on Discord because these are public servers with thousands of members usually. And I've had the same thing done to me and nobody gets in trouble for it. And hell, at least with me, it stays a mostly private thing. This guy recorded me and a bunch of other people during his stupid stream on Twitch. Oh, it doesn't matter because he doesn't have that many people watching it. Yeah, but you still go in a VC, possibly trying to talk about something you don't want the whole internet to hear. And then it gets broadcast on someone's channel. And he's such a deceptive bastard that because sometimes on different servers when you stream something, it'll say live. So at least you can like infer that might be what they're doing. You go into VC and they're like, "Oh, hey guys, how you doing today? My day was better." Oh, we're streaming. I don't feel bad at all about recording anybody on the internet because I've been recorded more times than I can count. And nobody apologized. Nobody filed any, said, "Hey, you can file some legal ramification." Nothing. They didn't care. Like I'm not gonna have sympathy when I wasn't given it. It's just it doesn't work. I don't want to hear about a 17-year-old sexuality. Well, hell, neither did person X until that they were getting harassed. It's not like they came in there and started talking about them being gay. They were asked over and over by this guy that kept following them. Yeah, that kind of thing is kind of common on there. They won't bother asking for their consent or let the others know they are streaming. Exactly. It was just kind of creepy that like I'm on a what's not channel. I'm in a server for a person that like if they do stuff on YouTube, it's never streaming. It's just videos they put up, and then some other person who's like has way more subscribers than them is streaming, and you just like walk in there, and now you're on their stream too. Especially when it's a bit of a big server with many members. Yeah, what do you expect? I don't want to have to censor myself online. Then maybe if you didn't think and believe insane, like I'll say all the stuff I say here, I'll say anywhere. Like I don't care. I'm not a pussy. That's why I show my face. That's why I have my name. What are they gonna do? Double unhire me? Like you know? I remember that one bimbo in the video was like, "Women looking at this will be less inclined to show." It's like they already were. I remember this one time when my brother was about like 2 or 3, and I think he had a cold, and then he was like, I don't know if I hugged him or something, but then he was like, he gave me another cold, just like how you get double of the same thing somehow. Like you can't get it again if you already have it. Yes, like but imagine like being on an account where you don't show your face, you have a fake name, and you're worried about being recorded and like that's somehow getting out to be you. It's like then don't say things that are insane. Because like if you get recorded, and you're like, "Oh, hello," nobody cares, right? It's just it's so sad that you know he had to act that way. Galactus, you will talk about what I want, and I'll ignore what you have to say. Ah. I don't care about anybody being 17 at all. After all the harassment I had on here before I was an adult, nope. If you don't believe me, I don't have evidence of the website where the chick was like, "Oh, you like boys," or whatever. But I do have proof of the serial killer one. Like I'm not making any of this stuff up. People have been attacking me online for as long as I can remember. But it's like again, nobody cares. But I'm supposed to be this person who's so concerned about if if someone does something to this, I don't care. I'm not bothering them. I'm benevolent. I don't mess with them myself, which is why that person consented to speaking to me privately for over half an hour. But it's just I'm not someone who really is trying to be nice. I thought that was a really douche thing to do to that. Yeah. Well, it's like this, right? The one person was a douchebag to person X because they're asking about their sexuality over and over, right? The other Galactus was a douchebag to this up to that other person, the other 17-year-old, because he literally initiated a conflict with that guy because he mentioned he was 17. No, 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 Brandon, we're not talking about the ages of trolls. We're talking about how uh when I was like going to play this recording, the guy was like, "Oh, I don't want to hear about the sexuality of a 17-year-old." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care how old you are. Like, you come in a server where people talk about explicit things, where sometimes those things might be recorded. I don't have any sympathy because people have been writing nasty and gross stuff to me, regardless of how old I was, and no one called it out. So, we're just gonna keep the cycle going. Except not really, because I'm not the one going around harassing people. YouTube before a couple of years ago used to allow some very perverse comments. People could say things that they can't say now because of different guidelines. For example, when I was, this is during that election, not the last one, the one before that. So I was 18. And I don't remember what the video was. I know that I mentioned being Catholic during the video. And then somebody in the comment section asked, "Does your Catholic daddy molest you?" Completely out of nowhere, obviously intending to be rude. Like I said, no one got upset or offended and came to my place and said, he's young. You shouldn't be saying this about him. I had a guy that I used to talk to when I was in, I think eighth grade. Um, just like a person I would chat with online about because we were into like similar stuff. And one day he decided to uh, block me, and then after doing that, was like writing nasty stuff about me on his page. You know, accusing me of being friendless, all this other little generic, troll stuff to people right now. And it's like that person didn't care that I was 14 or 15 because that did go on for like a year. Uh, and I do have proof of that one as well. So it's like I'm not going. I don't care about people's ages. I don't mess with them, but I'm not going to protect them or do any of this other stuff. Like make any kind of like passes because of your age. Because again, they do this to themselves. If they didn't go in a server where people talk like that, they probably wouldn't be spoken to in that way. No consequences online either. Nope. No, the consequences. This recording, this magic recording that is like so damaging to them. I don't want to be recorded. People should be able to harass people online and get away with it, but please don't record me. They really act like there's no way to avoid this. It's just it's so sad, really, with just the way they choose to respond to stuff. But the title actually, just if you want to shift to the romance stuff, it also has a lot to do with chicks as well. I mean, when you have people who are telling you need to, just let's repeat some of the nonsense. Be a millionaire to get a date, or get your money up, or any other trash. Go to the gym, have a physique, have fame and status. It's like, okay, what does the woman have to have? Oh, what you want and what you're interested in, what appeals to you doesn't matter. But the other random person. You need to cater to them in every possible way. Because remember, it's all about them. Yeah, people get scared when the spotlight is put on them. I'll never forget I did this one video and I got like a whole bunch of downvotes on the it was somebody's speech. I remember, and I was like, "Yeah, you downvoted doesn't change anything. I'm still going to say the same thing I said in the video." You can click that. So that's why I don't like the dislike, because there are so many people that just click that and won't even like explain why they oppose something. Because with people who click the like button, you can say, okay, they're just going to say they agree with most of the points, whatever. But when you dislike something, it might be for one specific reason for the whole thing. It's like it's so funny. People online try to pretend as if they care about having conversations and whatnot, but then when you go on this website that allows you to type to your heart's content, you know that YouTube lets you write way more than Twitter does. You have nothing to say and you just click a button and then leave. Megumi says that's true. Actually, they already are aware they are in a server with members with various ages, so of course they'll be exposed any explicit stuff that may be said by other members on there. And the one recourse I have for that is I don't say anything sexual. It's like just talk to people in a normal way, and then whether they're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever, you won't get in trouble. There are many minors that join on. Oh, Megumi, I personally know one that joined Discord even younger than 13 and gained access to mature 18 plus servers anyway. But again, it's like, I don't feel bad about any of this because I don't participate. I don't make these minors sign up, and I don't talk to them. I don't talk to anyone on that site in a manner that is not, like if you use like light profanity, whatever. And by the way, a lot of these minors curse like sailors. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk about any sexual stuff around anybody on there. I'm just there to just have a discussion about a game. Yeah, that's modern dating now. Girls want the world. Oh, what the world want to change you, but no one care about the average man needs or mental health. Nope. The only time they care about your mental health is if they're trying to like diagnose you to give you a fatal flaw for the chick stuff. I believe that the reason Megumi hasn't been able to get with a woman is because he's actually has some form of bipolar. I've never met him, but I know that. That's the only time they care about your mental health, when they want to get on here and give you a diagnosis. Like everybody on here is a psychiatrist, by the way. You know that guy that okay, so like Galactus actually asked me about like my channel. Was like, oh, give me a link, and I didn't like. This is before he left the VC, but I said no, and he was like, it's fair because you don't know me. And I was thinking to myself, like after like retroactively, it's like, yeah, if I wanted to be followed by trash, I would just go outside and empty out the garbage can and stand in front of it. LOL, the fatal flaw, dude. Everyone that has trouble getting dates must have a fatal flaw according to them anyway. Hey, that's why when I did the romance dehumanizes men video, I made a point of saying they want you to be a Mary Sue because no one is perfect, but for some reason, when you're a chick, you get accepted for having flaws of some, varying degree. And then when you're a man, if you have anything that someone else might not find appealing, they beat you over the head for it. Oh my God, your nose is too big. Oh my God, you wear glasses. Oh my God, you don't make six figures a year. You're like, who? Like, damn. Because I swear to you, if you watch Discord, like me and my best friend were talking about doing a stream together, you will not hear any of that stuff come out of our mouths when it comes to assessing chicks. We don't sit there and go, I wonder how much she makes. I like her, but the fact that she wears glasses or a necklace makes me uninterested. Just it should tell you that it's much easier for us to find someone we're interested in than chicks because we don't have these ridiculous high standards that nobody can meet. Let me close my window. I didn't say they had trouble getting dates. I said they have trouble finding men that they're actually interested in. They can find plenty of guys that'll sit there and try to talk to them, but very few of them actually get anywhere. Which is what made it unappealing to me. It's like why do I have to play this game where the contestants already don't like me from the get go? Oh, by the way, those two guys that were in that other server, um, at some point last night when I was talking to them, they both we didn't talk about it for that long, but they like admitted something like the stuff I was saying was true, like about how people defend chicks no matter what, and they act like they're these like perfect angel. Like it's just funny because people try to use the I word to like ascribe to me, but it's like there's a whole bunch of men that are just sick of chicks because they get nowhere with them and they waste their time, and they're told to keep approaching a group of people who outright admit they don't even like it when they get approached more often than not. Yeah, it's not the fact that most ladies are going for the top 20% of men. And they themselves aren't even in like the top 90% of chicks. Like that's why I said I don't care if I go on Discord and get recorded because everything I'm saying is true and I would say with my face shown. I'm not like these aren't like opinions I have for a stream. That's how I feel about this stuff. Dude, dating apps are the biggest joke in the world. I want to go on here to find my soulmate. That's why I'm gonna only swipe left or right if I think somebody is pretty, because that determines how good of a person they are. I definitely understand your stance on this. When I thought about what happened well, I guess that was technically this morning, but when I thought about what happened in that server where I went to sleep, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely doing a stream on this. This is insane. People online get to be rude to you, right? And that's why I gave the example of the person from my comment section a few years ago. They get to be rude to you. They get to tell you that what you want doesn't matter, what you want to talk about doesn't matter, all this other stuff. But then like you also like these same people, they want you to hear them. They want you to read their enormous comment. They want you to listen to them for 5, 10, 30 minutes, 50 minutes. Uh, with the chick stuff, it's like you're supposed to meet all of her standards, but then if she doesn't meet your standards or some part of them, you have too many things you expect from someone. It's just like this is really again double standards. It's just people want so much out of you for so little, and like they're not even willing to do the bare minimum that they ask themselves. Like how much of a douchebag would I look like if someone said, "Oh, I want to talk about I don't know construction for 5 minutes or 6 minutes." Like, all right, sure, whatever. I consent to it. Well, one time I was repairing this house. Now, I don't want to hear about it. It's like, who does that? It's just cock tease stuff. Never do this to people. I don't do it in real life, and I don't do it online unless it's someone I already didn't want to talk to. If I'm trying to speak to someone, I endure. But see, they don't believe in compromises. They want everything is about them. It has to always meet whatever interest they have. That's why you had the one clown a couple of weeks ago go, "You still make videos? Wow, I thought you were dead." Because again, if they're not watching you, everybody else is supposed to quit. Where the world revolves around them. That's another Galactus. Let's not get started on dating apps. But you see how it all parallels each other, right? That like it is shocking to him that you still do videos because if he's not watching you, there's no conceivable way that you've consistently continued to do the thing that you did when he watched you. I think the next romance video is probably going to be the romantic rejection comic book Like I'm getting so close to just making that because there's too many parallels. Everything always has to be about them. I won't be surprised they just came out and said you need to be a chick slave. I appreciate the contribution you're doing. I really do. I hope you can hear me over this loud man outside. Every time there's a stream on like a Wednesday or Thursday. But yeah, I appreciate it. I can't wait for what's that guy's name? Take the black pill and stop dating to come back and go, why did you donate to him? And get so offended over someone else donating to somebody. It's really it'll be a real nice sight to see. So he goes and like he leaves. I haven't seen him since then. I just know that if he shows up in that server again, I'm just not going to go into PC with him because I don't like talking to people who, they don't want to hear you, but they want to be heard. I don't like the inconsistency of that. The only time I interrupt somebody on any website is if it's a voice call and it's like by mistake. Oh, that guy was really weird. Well, again, he's just part of the same, like, concentrated issues of this like group of people who think that everything revolves around them. That's why you have men that come to my channel, just another example, and start like attacking me over my appearance because in their mind, they're so egotistical, they can't conceive that someone that, maybe they don't find physically attractive, which if you're a man, I don't know why you would find another man to be pretty, but whatever, could be able to get someone to like them back. Because they don't believe in the idea that there's diversity or people think differently. Because like I said, there are plenty of chicks that I don't think are pretty or attractive in any capacity, still end up with a boyfriend. Because like, I'm not a Galactus. I don't think everything revolves around me, and you must have my opinion. Remember, it's not me on people's comment section getting mad that they're still talking to chicks. It's other people on my comment section mad that I'm not talking to them. Other men, by the way, not chicks. Which is just more proof that what I said was true about how it's not actually that big of a deal. Because if it was, you would see chicks like getting angry over it and like demanding I speak to them, but you don't. The only chick we've had is that weird Serena broad who, for all we know, could be a guy because she didn't show her face. Because we already know that these guys like to pretend to be chicks. They, a certain subscriber of mine found that out a few weeks ago. They're trying to make this a live action version of Rama One Half. First he was boy, he jumps in water. Now he is girl. Yeah, other guys on your channel taking the place of chicks. Like that's why I made the joke. Imagine saying I'm not going to eat at Burger King anymore and getting death threats from McDonald's. It's so weird to see like one group take the place of the other. It's like we will defend women. It's like what the hell? But yeah, my sympathy again, it only goes so far. I didn't like that that person was being harassed, which is why I offered to speak to them one on one, and they did consent to doing that. And if you don't believe me, I can screenshot and show where they spoke to me for 40 minutes after that. Uh, but it's like I don't make any extra precautions for them because they do this to themselves. They come in these servers, they run their mouths. Like one of the 17-year-olds has an account where he has a woman's picture and like name purposely to get a bunch of men to go in different VCs with him thinking they're talking to a woman. So like I don't feel bad when that person gets confronted or people like, say something because they do it to themselves. Like what do you expect? Yeah. They're like, you have to defend the children, and then it'd be so funny if I don't know, I don't think they're all still there, but like if I still had like the comments of like videos where people insulted me, like years and years ago, and it's like we have to defend the children, and like I play the video while you see the comment of the person insulting me, like, and just year after year, no matter how young I was, they like it just goes back like more and more in time to show all the nasty stuff that's been written to me, and like nobody defended me. Just like as a gag of how, oh yeah, we're gonna defend children. Oh, there was this one child that was on the internet for several years and getting messed. Oh well. Yeah, people do that on here. Now, I think that'll be a really good scene in the movie where it's like, we will defend children, and then it's like all these different clips of videos from years and years ago, and like comments of people insulting me, and no one saying anything, and it just goes further back and back. My favorite thing about Monday. Oh, thank you, Stinky. I wasn't expecting that at all. I know you don't really like my channel that much. You gave me a 1 out of 5 stars on Yelp. But one of my favorite comments, actually, and I want to ask you guys if you noticed this, is so I'm in the VC with person X, and they call this person. I tell you that when people play games, they just start raging and getting so angry. It's really, and they do this where like the person can't even hear them, so it's even more bizarre. Like so, um, person X calls this guy like it's like a expletive loser, and like I'm just thinking about on Monday when we had the guy that came to my stream and called me that, the one that was like writing all the like that we voted off the island, that everybody voted to get rid of. And I'm like, why is it that every time I see somebody online, or I guess in real life too, call someone a loser, it's always someone you've never heard of before, that like there's no known attribute or thing of accomplishment that you're aware they've ever done. Like I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but like you don't see Obama going on YouTube and then I make a video on him, loser. It's like every time I see someone say that word to another person, they are what they say the other person is. They're a nobody. I mean, like if the person who calls me that is such a winner, which is what like referring to the guy on Monday, wouldn't we know who he is? Wouldn't I be on his channel? Wouldn't I be the one who's like on his stuff, circling around him instead of the other way around? Wouldn't I be trying to prove something to him? Go, oh, I got my HDD. When I get home, I got this random video I'm gonna show that's gonna expose everyone. Have you ever noticed that every time someone online calls somebody a loser, it's always the person who says that you've never heard of, that you've never seen before, that objectively means nothing to anybody on here. I just want to know if that's a pattern you've picked up on, because I'm really getting sick of seeing that word, and I do laugh when it's used because the people who say it, are what they say they are, but it's just like it's kind of redundant. Okay, Stinky said most females want attention, resources, and time. However, they don't realize in life the normal man can't do that all, so they ride the CC trying to find themselves, not knowing their true value as a lady. Megumi says that's true. They are just projecting their own dissatisfaction of themselves on another person. Stinky says yes. Brandon says these guys who are calling you losers because they don't like you or your content. Right, but if they're such winners, wouldn't we know who they are as opposed to them knowing who I am? Like, wouldn't I be on their stuff writing comments because they're like the center of attention for me? Like, wouldn't I be writing paragraphs about him instead of the other way around? No, like he was making me out to be the star. He wrote must have been 7 or 8 long comments in less than 20 minutes. Just this. And we know it wasn't something he just like wrote down one night, because he responded to several things I said, not like actually addressing it in some intelligent way, just like, yeah, well, I did, that kind of thing. I'm just saying, like, if someone is truly the winner, wouldn't we know who they are? Wouldn't they have done something of great accolade? And we go, oh my God, I feel so bad. Look at who just called me that. It's that guy that did that important thing. But that never happens because we don't know who these people are. Like the guy that called me a mediocre man. He's such a pussy. He has to hide behind a picture of a random football player. If he was so high quality, wouldn't he show his face when he go, look at these muscles I got, man? Like, no, they don't do that. Yeah, that guy was so enraged. That's why I said during the stream, you would think I had an affair with his mom and sister, the way he was talking to me. Dude, mental illness online is so prevalent. Just for you to get that angry at someone you've apparently never spoken to, there has to be something wrong with you. Which is why he won't show his face because he doesn't want us to identify the basket case. Hey, he won't show his face because he doesn't want us to identify him as the basket case that he depicted himself as being while he was writing his tirade. I still don't know why he was so mad. You know what? I don't even care. Like, Brandon, I know you like to watch some animes, but we don't need to hear his tragic backstory and get some 3, 4, 5 episode backstory about how his mom didn't hug him enough and his dad told him that he wouldn't pee on him because he's not worth the piss. It's like just let that. I live with the mystery. He's just another online person who's obsessed with males' genitalia that isn't going to amount to anything themselves when they talk trash about other people. I know you guys apparently looked up his channel. Like, I don't care. Just like they're nothing. That's why they have to come to me to get some kind of attention. So I don't really care about his tragic backstory or his the past events that occurred with him. That's why when that guy last year made that video on me, where he put my name in the title talking about the character flaws of I words. If you notice, when I did my stream on him, his name wasn't the title. I didn't say his name one time that whole stream. In fact, it took another person coming in there to say his name because he's nothing. I just think it's so funny that like these online guys spend so much time trying to defile another human being, and they're exactly the kind of stuff they talk about. Like, when have you ever seen Trump or Bill Gates or any other person, like George Lucas, anyone of any wealth, going in comment section going, yeah, man, you poor. I got money. Oh, you poor. You poor. You don't see it. You know why? Because when people actually do have that stuff, they don't spend time harassing other people online for not having it. You don't see Obama or Trump or Bush or Clinton going in your comment section of like different people. Like if I said I want to run for office right now, right, which I do at some point, want to do that. Like I just say that, and Obama goes, "Well, I was president. You're not." They don't like the people who've actually accomplished something and are worth a damn. Don't sit in comment sections harassing people that they claim aren't. When things hit home, some people don't know how to handle it and they rage. It's funny because you can see how more humility they really have. Right, but I'm just saying that I'll never feel bad about the stuff people on this website call me because most of those people that say that stuff have never accomplished anything themselves. Like seriously, there are plenty of guys that have much bigger channels than me that like give advice and try to get men to talk to chicks. You won't see a single one of them in my comments because like when you're actually successful, you don't go around going, I wonder how this man's romantic life is going. I must save him. They don't care because they actually have stuff they want to do and are concerned with their own affairs and not the romantic life of someone they've never met. But here's the thing: the guy was already angry when he came in trying to start a fight. Yeah, the first two comments he wrote, YouTube held automatically. The first comment he wrote was saying, "I want to beat your," and then expletive. I just have yet to see anyone that's worth a damn act like come in my comment section actually like, write like nasty stuff. Every time somebody does that, it's someone you've never heard of. And again, it's like just to clarify, you don't have to have some big channel or be well known to make a good point, which is why I'll sit there and actually dispute the stuff they're saying. But I just think it's really hilarious for them to like try to really make me, attempt to make me feel as if I'm minor, insignificant, when, apparently I'm much more significant to them than they are to me, since they're writing paragraphs about me without me. I've never spoken to them. They're watching my stuff, not the other way around. The list goes on. It's so hilarious watching people online try to put somebody else down. It's really comedic. When I was on Discord on Tuesday, there was a guy that just like randomly announced that he had me muted, right? And it's someone I've never spoken to. I literally met the man the day before, and someone asked me after a while, what do you think of him muting you? I'm like, I didn't say anything about it. Like, that was my response, and then they asked why. I said, because he's not worth my breath. It's like people on these sites, they try to pick a fight with every damn body, really for no reason. I have Justin muted. What did Thanos say to Scarlet Witch? I don't even know who you are. Like, you're just inconsequential. And now the only reason you're even able to orbit the same space as me is because I'm just sitting up in here laughing at people. When you consider all those factors, you can really see the faults in those kind of people that just want to bring another individual down. So there are plenty of people that make romantic stuff that's antithetical to what I do. You've never seen me in their comment section at all, because I'm trying to actually advance what I do, not like go over to them and start messing with them for having a different opinion. I suck at typing. I mean this. If people really going to go out of their way to bully someone else like that, it shows how set of a person they really are. I'm just saying, I've noticed that the people who call someone a loser, who talk about how like you need to do like none of them ever have shown anything they've accomplished themselves. And the people who've actually accomplished something don't go around doing what they do. You think if I did let me ask you something. You think if I did a channel where I just put up like clips of me playing basketball, you're going to see Michael Jordan go, well, I actually was in the league. I'm actually, like a famous player. Ha 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 ha. You think if I made videos about me, like just like let's say I started making just different types of videos where it's me singing, right? You think you're gonna see Rihanna go in my comment section? Well, I can sing much better than you. That's why I've sold millions of records. No, because again, that's someone that actually is trying to do their own stuff. Or if I start doing raps, you think Drake isn't coming here? I just want to say I'm actually way better than you at rapping. That's why I'm much more famous and I got all this. No, never. Because people who've actually accomplished something spend very little time in someone's comment section talking trash about them. You're a loser. I'm a winner. That's why you've never heard of me, but I've heard of you. It's so funny watching people that no one ever heard of just sit here and act like they're these like really big deals. And I just love the irony of like, I'm an internet tough guy. That's why I'm threatening to beat you up while I hide my face and hide behind a BS username. But again, I don't like I'm very serious when I say this. I don't know anyone of any accomplishment in real life that has called another person like just in like I don't remember any instance of my best friend calling somebody else that. I don't remember any instance of my brother calling anybody that. My parent, just like you can go through my whole family tree. I don't remember any of them referring to someone in such a manner, because they're not trying to like like if they insult someone, like they say, oh, you're rude for doing this, messed up for doing this. I guess what I'm trying to say is they don't have these like inflated senses of ego to where they're like, yeah, I'm this really important person and you're so down here, just every time I see that word used, it's always by someone I've never heard of before. Some brand new unknown character that just appeared. Oh, a lot of irony. I mean, hell, the whole thing with Galactus is ironic. You will talk about what I want you to talk about, and you will listen to me while I don't listen to you. And then I'll get angry when you decide to stop speaking to me, even though you already were showing signs when I completely tried to dismiss what you were saying, which I know if the opposite happened and you did that to me, I would be upset with you as well. I'm telling you, every time we get those comments written, just every instance, it's always someone unknown. I've never recognized a single person in my comment section that was like writing nasty stuff about me. Dude, the legacy of all of these different trolls is that they harass a person that usually doesn't even get 100 views. That's the most important thing they'll ever do. All of your fans are the I word. All of your fans don't exist. Nobody comes on this site. I can't wait to see what blah blah said. No one ever. They always try to find a way to make you feel like you're this minuscule minor deity, right? Or entity. But if you were so minor, they wouldn't even say anything. Like when that guy muted me, I mentioned it one time after that. Like when I was just talking to some people about like how crazy that server was, which it was like, among like multiple strange things people did in the span of a day or 2 days. And that was it. I didn't send them a message. I didn't try to mess when they go, how could you do this to me after all the time we spent together? Because he doesn't matter. He's insignificant. And when he gets mentioned, it's among multiple other people doing strange things. Like you have to be lumped into this big group of like bizarre, mentally ill characters online to even warrant being mentioned by me. Remember when the guy did the video on me last year? My name was in his title. His name wasn't in my title, and that should tell you something. So like, people on here just there is something wrong with them. And I'm very serious when I say I don't do this to others ever. If I speak to a person, they will be given the courtesy of being allowed what they want to say. They are the ones that actually are insignificant. Yeah, nobody ever heard of them. Told you people who actually matter and who are like really like objectively accomplished, even if I don't like them personally, they don't go on here and do what they do. Like there are multiple people that have millions of subs on this channel. You don't see them going, hello, very small channel. I've got millions of subs and I just came to you don't never. They're too busy making their own stuff. They're very insignificant. That's why they have to come over to my channel and get my attention. Hello, insignificant person. Let me show you how minor you are as I spend the next hour responding to what you're saying, even though you didn't ask me for it. You would think things would be reversed. It would be me on their stuff, like trying to get their attention. If I'm the minor person and they're the like very big deal head honcho that we're all so familiar with. Wasting their own time writing nonsense on your channel, giving you attention, and they call you the loser. Yeah, because that's what winners do. They go and like orbit around other people that are like supposedly less successful than them. They're just mad. I don't do the same stuff they do. I don't try to say, oh yeah, I have this beautiful, amazing girlfriend that is like so hot and has giant tits. Yeah, I don't. They're mad. I don't live the same fan fiction lie that they do. I went to the gym and I saw this hot woman and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she said, "Yes." And we got married in 2 weeks. I'm a millionaire. I don't sit here and pretend to be the have the lavish lifestyle that these bastards try to you know get us to believe that they have. That's gonna be the only time I apologize for anything. I'm sorry for telling the truth. But just to like go to backtrack a little bit, it is always comedic when you have people that you like invoke someone's age online because I mean, internet's just not a place for kids. It really isn't. Unless you have some really strict parental guidelines, I would never recommend letting a child on the internet. Because I did some dumb things on here when I was, 9, 10, 11, 12. But the difference between me and the chicks is that you're not going to see anyone say, "Oh, it's okay that he posted this when he was, 10. He was just a baby. He was so young and he was learning." And no one will write that. But, when something happens with one of these chicks, here comes a trillion defenses. No, I don't take age seriously at all when it comes to just like stuff that, and I just have to keep like prefacing it doesn't mean someone should be messed with over, like anything, but I'm not going to like use that as a factor of I don't want to hear this person of this age talk about, like, man, forget that. If you don't want to hear that person talk, you wouldn't be in the server. Like you wouldn't still put yourself in situations where you could potentially run into them again. Because literally right after that thing happened with me and him, where he like got tired of my lecture, which was just me explaining how he was a hypocritical piece of garbage. Uh, Person X, or what was it? Whatever they using it, the name I gave the individual. They showed up in that server again. I spoke to them for about an hour while they were playing this game with some other person. But again, if you didn't want to hear anything from that person anymore, you would leave the server because you would say, I don't want to be put in situations with, like, for example, I'm going to get out of that server probably in a week if because there are now multiple people that annoy me, right? So I don't ever want to hear their voice directed toward me again. So that's like motive for me to just get out. They're projecting their own little fantasies onto you, saying how successful they are. Yeah, but like I said, if they were really as successful as they claim to be, we would know who they are. Repeated this before, but their name would be known throughout all corners. When they showed up, everybody would go, "Oh my God, look who it is!" But in reality, they're nothing. See, when you sit on someone's channel and write comments to them, sometimes once in more instances than not, multiple ones, you elevate that person because you are saying you are so significant to me. Because I assume you don't leave a comment on every channel you go to, that I am going to write multiple comments to you and or spend several minutes to half an hour to an hour on your stream. Just have a lot of hypocrites on here. But look, I didn't bring up the examples of me on here as like an attempt for sympathy. It's just me saying that, any nasty thing that can be said or written to me has already been done. And more often than not, it was when I was underage and nobody cared. So I don't really care too much about, oh, this person is 17. Oh well. No, the biggest one for me will always be like being told at 15 that I should be dead instead of a serial killer. That was I'll always remember that. Or that one bimbo that was like in the same comment section, he will go down in the history books. You're a nobody that will be forgotten the day you die. I was like, yeah, I'm sure they'll remember you, bimbo number three, groupie number 362. I didn't write that back, but it was just like, it's like the people, again, every time somebody writes a comment about your lack of notability as a person, it's always directed toward you in some manner that shows there's like enough of a special thing about you for them to leave it directly on your channel. And they themselves are no more significant than you are. Because I guarantee you, if I went in my comment section and pulled out this person's name, you wouldn't recognize her because she's nothing. They project onto you what they actually are. Wow, that's really insane saying something so well. Listen, when you are so obsessed with someone as these groupies were with that murderer, you don't I mean, guys, it's like this. You can't expect morality and decency from a bimbo that was obsessed with a man that killed multiple people for no reason. You can't really take them seriously because you're like that. It's like expecting a dog to never use the bathroom. I mean, it's going to do it. But my point still stands that, and I don't even believe that killer is that significant. Like nobody really remembers him like compared to like the big ones like Dahmer or Bundy or Gacy or something. You're not going to see me mentioned as often. But it's like it's really comedic that again the person who is saying that is no more, and actually you could argue objectively is less significant than I am. And I even consider myself to be that significant. But it's like every time somebody says something like that, you've never heard of them. They really think everybody's supposed to be a celebrity. You have people that have done way more significant things than me, and like you still have people that don't know who they are. Like, I've mentioned the Jack Kirby example. This man made an entire fictional universe that Marvel's been sucking off for the last 50 years. And you still have people who don't know who that is. I mentioned, I think I mentioned Wes Craven one time. It's like you make two very successful horror franchises, and yeah, you don't direct that many installments of the first one, but you do of the second one. It's like, yeah, people still know who that is. So it doesn't really bother me. Like it's kind of like Mission Impossible to be remembered. Unless you're like Jesus or something, there are going to be people who don't know who you are. It just happens because we do a terrible job of actually like preserving the importance of people. It is what it is. Discord, Discord. What a terrible website. They say a lot of things on there, and most of it isn't right. They piss you off and annoy you to where you want to uninstall. And then they get upset with you because you don't want to be in a 50-man call. Discord, oh Discord. This nightmarish website. Can you get some more people on here that don't act like a parasite? I'm so glad I didn't send that person. Like I just had this because that thing on Tuesday night was really like the catalyst movie. Like, okay, there might be something wrong with this person. Like, I've never heard of someone like let's go with saying it. I've seen people mute someone for annoying them, but just like I'm gonna mute you because you're 17. Like you're looking, and it's also the fact that they announce it. Like if I mute someone, I don't tell them that I have them muted because it's just I don't need to be validated by going, I have it to where I can't hear you. So like he purposely started not a fight, but a confrontation with this other person. When I thought about that, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna send this person a friend request. And I was like, oh, well, this is one of the few people that like some of the stuff I'm into. I was like, all right, well, I'll just talk to myself about it. Like, I would rather talk to myself than speak to people that act that way. Just like there was this one broad that said, and I'm not going to keep saying her username or the nickname I made for her, but it's like she was like, "Oh, why don't you talk to a goldfish?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll talk to my best friend. I'd rather have one person I speak to that treats me right than a bunch of douchebags, fake friends that treat you like trash and who are all the same. Quality over quantity." Just imagine Megumi just sitting there imagining that stuff and like what was written. That's why he didn't write anything. He's like, they really wrote that to him. Wow. And guess what? Even though they wrote all that stuff, I still feel the exact same way. In fact, I was actually thinking of making like a not a flashback video, but like I still have that like the video is privated. I could easily just, you know, make it public, download it, and then like say, hey, remember that time that those groupies of that murderer tried to make me feel bad and it didn't work? But see, they did the same thing about like me not liking the dislike button. They just clicked this, but it's like, yeah, we won. We got more down votes than up votes. Like, yeah, because most people don't care about this guy because he was nothing. It's so sad that people act the way they do. But I maintain that I'm not ashamed of my online behavior. I don't bother anybody. If I go on a site like Discord, I'm actually trying to talk to people about a specific thing. Um, and again, you can see this from the way that that thing went down with Person X. Like they admitted I wasn't doing anything to them. That that's why they agreed to have that 1v1 VC with me. But it's always funny when you have these detractors who try to like paint me in some like awful way. That's why a lot of them write comments like "You're going to rape a woman" because they have to make you worse than you actually are. They try to like pretend that you're not benevolent because making a video about chicks in general is not hurting anybody. People make videos about men doing things they don't like all the time, and they talk about men online on different forums on Twitter. And again, par for the course. I support them having the right to do that and not get like what's a good way of saying it? I think you should be able to do stuff like that, but you also should be able to then have men say things about chicks. Because in real life, I know men that are not the I word or don't identify as, don't even know what that word is, and they talk about like insane things that chicks have done with them or done to them. It's just sad that people have to. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Um, 2 years ago, there was a woman that she was 17. She got murdered by this guy that I guess was not in a relationship with. I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but a documentary was made about it this month, and they had this guy on there who's supposed to be some behavioral analysis, and this documentary includes them talking about the I word. And remember how I mentioned how the I word's definition changes more times than I change shirts? According to this guy, the I word means males over the 21 or older who have not had, I guess it was sexual interactions with women in more than 6 months. Now, you know damn well that if you go to any site that's worth a piss, right? They'll say it's males who are members of an online subculture, or whatever. Like, do you see how it just they can't get their story straight? Yeah, Megumi, it's a ABC documentary. I watched it on my computer. They have this behavioral panelist on there, and he's like, the I words are males that are 21 or older who have gone 6 months or more without having had a sexual experience. I was like, well, I've never heard this definition before. I'm telling you, man, if you have chicks that are not with a man for 6 months or more that are of a certain age, they will never find themselves being labeled as any term other than independent. No one will ever try to shame them or say they're part of a group they didn't sign up for. Only men, only straight men. I was tempted to do a video about just laughing at him. I was like, what? Males that are 21 or older who haven't had a sexual experience in the last 6 months. I was like, well, damn, I didn't know there was a time limit on. It's just like, I was like, wow. I'm gonna need to check that documentary out. That's just what. Well, look, I'm gonna see if I can. Their website's very finicky. I have a thing that can record my screen, but doesn't record audio. So I'll try to see if I can cut that part of it out and then stick it up in the video or put it somewhere. But it's like he says that, which is like really like, think of how many men that is, 21 or older, that haven't had a romantic experience in half a year, and then he says the I words believe that women who are unattainable are Stacy's. Like, you have never seen me call a single bra on this whole website or anywhere that name. Like, what the hell? It's not even funny how stupid that is. Oh, I was pissed. I wanted to do a video about it, but I couldn't, like, the clip is on another website and I didn't have a way to like screen record it without like losing the audio. Basically, it's like this. The website on the phone, I have a thing to record because I use that for the DVD videos. Um it doesn't let me skip to that part, so I have to watch the whole thing again. And then if I go on the computer, I can only record the screen, not the sound. So stuff always is so irritating. It never gets any easier. You know what? I just realized I actually could. Damn, the only other thing I can think of is maybe if I went there during a stream and clicked on that part and played that. But it's just funny that, like, when people, and I don't usually talk about appearance, but it's like when people put on a suit and tie, they can say the most insane, ridiculous things and look smart doing it. It's like, yeah, the I words are like are men that are 21 or older who haven't had a sexual experience in 6 months. Like, according to who? Douchebag? No definition I've ever read. It just completely cuts out the subculture part. 'Cause see, that's what I was talking about when I said they want to lump every guy that talks about how, like, just chicks in like any manner that's not positive, right? And that's not with one, as being part of this group. That's their master plan. Because again, it's easier to like just say, "Oh yeah, they all just want to get screwed, and that's why they don't have girlfriends." Just that nonsense. You can dismiss everybody with these like broad strokes. I think it's really sad that again, like this goes back to why I don't want to have a conversation with these people, because who wants to talk to someone who purposely misrepresents who and what they are for the purpose of their stupid documentary? It was a pretty good one up until that point. I was like, it just sucks that like they have these people on here, right, that have They have papers, right? All these little documents, the suits, they got all dressed up. And they say ridiculous things that just make you want to vomit. Like, oh my God, I can't even. Something is wrong with people. Yeah, that's true. That's honestly very disingenuous. Dude, imagine like having all these documents and on like the I word, right? And then the definition you give, I can't find anywhere else. Like literally, I type in the I word, I keep getting the same thing. Members of an online subculture, not men who are 21 or older who haven't had a sexual experience in 6 months. I swear, these people just they just make it up as they go along, you know. It's like you are this. But see, it goes back to they think it's all about them because if they actually, like understood the nuances of situations like this, they would say, hey, maybe we shouldn't give such a broad stroke painting definition because there are some men that don't even use the internet, or like if they're single and don't want to be, they don't like get online and talk about chicks, which is what I mentioned. That's what my best friend does. He doesn't come on here and talk about chicks ever, other than when he was on my channel. It's like they don't care. That's just mainstream media propaganda. Yeah, but it's like, what good or purpose does this serve if it's just going to convince people more that if you're not with a woman, there's something wrong with you? Even if you've never broken any laws, even if you don't bother anybody, you're just again this complete benevolent figure. There must be something wrong with you because you're single. I just don't see how this kind of stuff is helpful. I guess that's the point. It's not trying to be, huh? Gumi asked me earlier what made me want to go on Discord again. I'm like, well, I just watched the way that people act on here, and I was really hoping that maybe if I went to different servers, it wouldn't be this way anymore. But it really does seem like every like if you go in a server where there's a like low like how to explain it, a server that has more than maybe 10 people, like some kind of number that can be moderated and has like voice chats with more than two people, it always turns weird. Like they ask you sexual stuff, they start talking about things that have nothing to do with anything else. It's just exactly, do they really understand just how misleading they are being? Well, this goes back to my thing about how this is like a reverse version of the patriarchy. Like, oh, if a woman's not with a man, she's not fulfilling her purposes. We don't say that anymore, but if a man's not with a woman, that's because he's mentally ill and ugly, and there's something wrong with him. And we can just like throw a bunch of stuff at a wall and see what sticks. I just really like the idea of like doing stuff that has nothing to do with chicks, right? And like it actually getting popular or well known, and then it's just proof that you can't like lump everyone into a box that has trouble with broads because there's so many people that have that experience. I would love that. I would love for like just to have some kind of example of doing something of some noteworthiness that's like considered objectively good, and then it like shows how insane chicks are. Because people like to, they try to act like that's the decider if you're a person that's worth a damn. You're a mediocre man. Remember that? So I would really like that. Brandon says, yeah, but they only care about ratings. That's why you see a lot of journalist clickbait stories. Well, I'm gonna give them a bad rating. I told you that, I didn't this didn't get brought up that much on Monday, but that guy that was like writing the like angry comments, he called me like two different romance guys in the how do I explain? They're basically these people love free advertising, and what they do is they take different men that have talked about chicks in just like a criticizing or disparaging way, and they try to like say, "Oh, you're that person." And one of the guys he called me, right? I saw a video of a few years ago, and the guy said that like I explained it very offensive things about black women, and I've said multiple times, race has nothing to do with it. All of these chicks have lost their minds, right? So do you see how like even when they try to say, "Oh, you're this person," they forget the nuance. They try to like just paint everybody with a broad brush. Aside, where's the female's equivalent of a lonely person not being able to find a relationship? A black word? Yeah, they don't have it. Because, like I said, if you're a single woman, it's okay. If you're a gay man that's single, it's okay. If you're a lesbian woman, it's okay. You know, transgender, whatever. But straight man, only group of people where like like being you is bad. You know, by the way, that bimbo that was in the what video was that? The top, not top 10. What's the video's title? Oh, woman tries to control me, fails miserably. Uh, I mentioned that like she's such an idiot that she said women were given to men like cattle 30, 40, 50 years ago, but then by her own definition, her mother was like imagine being like such a clingy dingbat that you say you're gonna commit suicide if your dad dies, but then at the same time you're also indirectly accusing your dad of like receiving your mother as if she was his property. Like you do you see how like their own lie doesn't even match their own backstory? If you're a straight guy that struggles to get a date, then you are a worthless and an undesirable person. And like I said, it's really telling that the chicks by and large, right, have never done anything of any higher noteworthiness than you or I, but somehow they determine if our worthiness as an individual. And you would think that if we were truly as worthless and undesirable as these clowns online say we are, they wouldn't sit in my comment section. They wouldn't try to message me or do any attempts at reaching out to me, right? Because remember, I'm supposed to be of a lower significance than them, you know, again, by their own rationale. If I'm the worthless and undesirable person, why are they coming in my comment section and writing paragraphs about me? Anybody want to explain that? Why did one of them download my videos and try to pretend to be me if I'm such this worthless and undesirable person? Saying their rhetoric doesn't match the stuff they do. Like if someone truly believes you are worthless and undesirable or like don't matter, they don't write comments on your videos. They don't come to your streams. They don't sit there and keep writing comments after they've said all this nasty stuff. They just would leave. Like I just an example. I don't like Ben Shapiro. You won't catch me dead on one of his streams because I don't find the man interesting or entertaining or anything to look at other than, you know, get him out my recommended, click away. You'll never hear that sentence be applied to any woman ever. No, because like I said, when you're a single woman, it's okay, independent. So somebody will like you, whatever. You're a straight man that's single, and you'll want to be. Oh, well, there's something wrong with you. Oh, you're probably going to do this. You know, I think it's really funny. It's like they'll accuse you of plotting to do something evil, like shoot up somewhere or rape a woman, but then at the same time, as they're telling you you're going to do that, I have multiple comments of men threatening me bodily harm. Like you get the irony of that. Like the I words are the violent group, right? But then the person who you're accusing of being an I word, you're threatening to assault because they said something you didn't like. Nobody sees the irony in that. You're part of the extremist group that does violence to women. That's why you're doing no violence and having violence threatened to you. That was just so funny to me. Like, but it is worth reporting. Like, I did report that comment, but it was also like comedic. The idea that someone is like talking so strong while they hide their face and their real name. Like, it's just it's two actions that don't align with each other. That's why I said these people start to turn into like parodies of what I expect, because it's just like there are some people who, when they make threats, they actually do show themselves, right? Not that person. We don't know what his voice sounds like. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know what his name is. We don't know where he lives, but he's going to beat you up if he sees you. And again, over a video that he didn't have to watch, that he wasn't mentioned in, like just this complete like that. And that's why I said about how you can't say I'm the loser, but then you're so obsessed with me, and I don't even know who you are. I've never heard of you. It's just like with that person that was in what video was that? I don't know if you remember Megumi the new N word video where like the guy wrote the paragraphs and then he was bragging about how he was gonna not watch me again and he showed up on my stream 2 days later. It's like who the hell is that? That's why I said it's a bunch of new villains that come out of nowhere. And I don't do this to people. If there's someone I don't like, I do not antagonize them on their channel ever. I don't watch their stuff. I don't leave a comment, nothing, because I'm ignoring them. Why is that so hard to do? And it's like I could see if I had maybe like 5 million subscribers, right? About like all kind of different, and I just kept up. But it's like I don't even have 3,000 subs, and I'm probably never even going to because people don't, they unsub and they don't watch you if they do so. Whatever. It's a slippery slope. But it's like this: you took this small channel, and like they've dedicated so much of their time to me, writing paragraphs. If you don't ban them, they sit on your stream the entire time. Like you can't say that person doesn't mean anything as you're giving them all this attention. Right, you remember the comment section. A guy I'd never seen before wrote, I don't even know how many paragraphs, just talking trash about me. Yeah, he said you were crying about not getting women. I mean, they say basically anytime you complain about something ever, they call it crying. So I don't really take it seriously. But he must like the crying if he knows I do that and then still keeps coming back, like Frieza. Think about it. If he doesn't like my supposed crying about not getting a woman, which that's not what this is, but okay. Why does he keep showing up to the crying about not getting a woman? And hell, the stream he crashed on Monday wasn't even about chicks. I was talking about DVD and the diminishing returns. I really want to know if he dislikes or has a problem with my supposed crying about not getting a woman. Why is he watching me? Why do they keep coming back? Listen, let me tell you something. All these bastards that write these comments about "I don't like you doing this," they love it because when we talk about other things, whether it's the news, video where I play a game, they don't leave any comments. They're nowhere to be seen. So they love this chick stuff and they love it when I talk about it. Like you don't have someone that talks about multiple different things, and then the only thing that you have a problem with, that's the only thing you actually respond on. We're supposed to believe that you supposedly don't like it. No, they high key love it. You see the paragraphs they write? One of them one time wrote a comment that was so long I couldn't even screenshot it because like where like you can only make the text so small before it just becomes not readable. Like it was, I couldn't even get the whole thing because how big that comment was. That comment is bigger than my torso. It was like this, and it's always these people that are insulting you that just write all this stuff, and it's like who. If you don't care and we're so insignificant and you don't like it, why are you here? You're crying about not getting with the woman. You like the crying because otherwise you'd walk away. Like you've heard of MG Toll, right? Men going their own way. They need to. These trolls need to go their own way and like stop harassing and obsessing over me. Like literally, when chicks stream, I don't see anyone talking about the way they look. I don't see anyone talk like just the stuff they write towards me is more sexual than the stuff they write to chicks. They spend more time on a stream I do where I'm just talking about something that they claim they don't like than they will with chicks that they supposedly want to get with. Magumi, do you think if you got just an example, you got married, do you think you would be on YouTube trying to be the romance prophet and tell people about, oh, I gotta give you this advice, man, you're gonna get a woman just like me, yeah? Or would you actually be enjoying your partner and yourself and involved in your own affairs? I think it's all hypocritical. They say one thing and do the other. And we already talked about they never show any proof. When I get home, I'm gonna pull out my HDD. I just thought that was so funny. Like, what the hell is on that camera that's gonna dispute what we say here? Is there gonna be some magic video where there's like a bunch of guys that were under your tutelage that were able to like that now have chicks that are interested in them? Is there some documentary of that occurring? Dude, that was the funniest threat I've ever seen. Like, when I get home and I pull out my HDD, it's game over for the black I words. Like, what? It's like, oh, you don't got no girlfriend. If you had one, you'll be talking to her instead of obsessing over me. That's how. That's that's just the way that goes. Dude, there is no way in hell anybody gets a girlfriend and they're like, the next part of my master plan is to go online and talk to men that don't have a woman and get them to do what I did. You would never know. No one who's with a woman, right, is going to like make that jump to now let me harass random men over not being with one because they're actually enjoying their time with their partner. Maybe you would have one if you wore something different. Maybe you would have one if you didn't obsess over a man on the computer. It's like tit for tat. You here too. Megumi on Monday, they really that guy really did act like an anime villain. Like first he comes out of nowhere, new appearance, causing trouble. He makes his master plan, like he announces it to all of us. When I get home and I pull up my HDD, it's game over for you. Like some ambiguous threat. Then after he gets defeated and yanked and thrown away like the garbage that he is, some of my subscribers are like, we need to learn more about this guy. He needs character development. And so they go and look for his channel so we can start to unravel and give him some revelations about his tragic backstory. Give us a 3-episode flashback. That everybody on YouTube that like that trolls and gets like mentioned after that, they're all pain. They all had a point. There was one guy I got rid of, and then he came right back with a different account. We made the joke that he actually is like Pain from Naruto, where he has like multiple bodies. Like he's like, this body got destroyed. No matter, I'll just send another one. Oh my god. You will talk about what I want. Oh, you want me to hear you too? Nah. I didn't feel bad at all. I was like, I'm not about to sit here and be disrespected. There's just so much rudeness online. But I guess just to kind of cap things off, on my like several day adventure of just being in servers, I did meet some people that seem okay to speak to. I imagine that they're gonna, start pulling Like I had one person who accepted my friend request and like I asked them how they were doing. They said they're all right. And then literally the next day just unfriended me out of nowhere. But I'm used to that like that bipolar weirdness of people on the computer. So it's just it's just another day in the hood basically. Um, Let me read what you guys wrote. Yeah, it knows no bounds, man. That guy literally was acting like angry Jiren. Yeah, he reached some transformation that he's like, I don't know what's wrong with these people. Um, but to continue what I was saying, I don't like the kind of person that individual was, and there are several people that act that way. I'm not going to excuse someone on the basis of their age, like he did twice, whether it was, oh, I don't want to hear this recording of this person that's underage about their sexuality, or I'm gonna mute someone because of their age. It's like, again, people have said all kind of gross stuff to me on here from the time I was a kid to now, and no one ever, they didn't have a problem with it. So I personally don't participate in screwing with anybody on here, right? And that's why that person spoke to me by myself for almost an hour. Um, but it's like I'm not really sympathetic toward them because you don't get the same like courtesies that they want you to give them because it's all about the unfairness and unevenness of this stuff. And I feel like if what I want doesn't matter, then it should be the same for other people. Like if I'm not going to be listened to, then you shouldn't be heard either. I think that's the only way to be fair. But again, if I want to speak to someone, I'll actually listen to them. I'm not like Galactus. I don't go. You will talk. You want to talk about this thing? Okay, I'll authorize it for a moment, then I'll cut you off, and then I'll start to go on my thing. "Ah." Do the same. I get what you're saying. I could make a whole like 2 3 hour documentary about all the disgusting stuff that's happened to me on the internet, and it wouldn't be to get sympathy, it wouldn't be to get you to feel sorry. It's just to simply say that you can't treat someone the way that I've been treated, and then expect them to in turn be this like overly protective, compassionate person toward the protection of like my. Because again, they do this to themselves. They join these servers with grown adults, and then when something happens to them, I'm supposed to like now feel awful and like this is off limits. When I got recorded without my permission in that server multiple times and got put on Twitch, nobody said anything. Not that server, another one. No one complained. No one said, "Oh my God, we're infringing on Justin's rights." Nobody cared. But when I record someone, I'm supposed to like, "Oh man, I wonder how they." I don't care. I'm gonna do you the exact same way. It's tit for tat. But again, I mentioned my thing isn't like the other thing. This thing has stayed private. Um, I was very like nice toward that person. I have encountered those types of people all through my life. Yeah, they want some kind of like special treatment from you while not giving you the same courtesy. It's uneven. That's why we nickname this person Galactus. He goes around eating planets, destroying everything, no care or concern for any of the people that are dying or getting their world blown up by him as he consumes it. But we're supposed to care about his feelings and his origins and whatnot. I mean, come on. Because the double standard they want you to abide by. Yeah. And then he was like, "Oh, I don't want to be recorded. I don't have to censor myself." Like, dude, you're on an account with a fake name with a picture that's not you. Like, how scared do you have? Whatever. It's just they're. It's so funny that like some of them talk like they're so strong, and then other ones are like the biggest cowards in the world. Like, if there's a recording of me where I go by a fake name and a picture that's not me, I don't care because I don't say anything that like in the record that I wouldn't just say on here. Remember that one server I was in where they were like messing with me over the. I still stand by that. I think a lot of chicks are stupid. And I'm not afraid to say it over and over again because every awful thing that can be done to me has already been done. I've been attacked over my physical appearance. I've had people make threats towards me physically and otherwise, and I just it's over. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a surprise. It's just that that website really kind of, I think it deserved to get mocked and made fun of. And if I'm able to get the, because again, I'm trying to be nice toward that person. If I get the permission of that person, I would be willing to put that recording up for it to be listened to. Only reason I don't do it publicly is because I actually do like want to speak to this individual. So uh, we'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm not part of any harassment group. I don't bother people. I just wanted the same basic respect that I would give to somebody else. When you don't get it, you should tell them to kick rocks when you're not bestowed the same courtesy. So thanks, Megumi. Thanks, Brandon. Who else was here? James, Stinky. Thanks for the 2 donations. I appreciate it. Dio, he showed up, had a little cameo at the start. I'll do another stream on Saturday and then one on Monday, and then I'll put some video up tomorrow. So see you.